Uh, I want to talk. I want to talk about this weird buying video games off Twitch thing. I don't think this is something. I don't think a lot of people are giving it a lot of thought, kinda, because it's sort of just maybe kind of a natural progression for Twitch to do. It seems like a pretty natural thing to me. I mean, they're kind of looking to do stuff, right? I mean, Twitch is always looking to make a buck. So selling video games off of their site, it kind of makes sense. To me, at least. It makes some sense. But yeah. So, the quick rundown. Because I missed what you guys were saying a moment ago. Huh. So, here's what Infected. Infected's kind of summed up the deal. So, Twitch is going to be selling games. And the basic implementation is that when you're streaming, such as myself, if I am streaming, there will be a link to the game that I am playing, I believe, goes directly to Amazon. Now, while I'm playing a game, let's say Horizon. Let's say I'm playing Horizon, and underneath my stream is a link to Horizon on Amazon. If you were to click on that link, which takes you, I imagine it takes you to Amazon, and then you buy it off Amazon, a couple things happen. Infected SA is saying every time that you buy a game through Twitch in this manner, regardless of who you buy it from, whatever stream you're watching, it will contain a crate, and the crates are random loot crates, which will have things like items, random items. Yeah, it'll have random items like bits, badges, or emotes. That's really weird. A random number generator for when you're buying video games, I guess. So yeah, here's this is the part. Talk about that really quick here. It's Amazon trying to compete with Steam. They've all but outright said that. Okay, that is so weird. I mean, Steam is like not even Twitch though. Steam is its own library. How could you possibly compete with Steam? That makes no sense. Steam is like really good as it is. There's no way. There's no way. That's a fool's errand. To compete with Steam? Look at EA, what is it? Oranges? That weird EA service that does what it's the fucking Steam does? It's broken as hell. No one likes it. I don't get it. Here's the more relevant part. This is the more relevant thing. Partnered streamers who opt in, and why wouldn't you opt in? If you're a partnered streamer, why would you not opt in? You will receive a 5% revenue share for these purchases, and viewers who buy will receive the loot crate, which contains randomly generated rewards. Huh. Yeah. So, okay. This is my beef, alright? That's the general layout. You watch a dude stream, you could buy the game by clicking off of his stream. You could go buy the game off Amazon through his link on his channel. And then if he is a partner, he will receive 5%, I guess, of the proceeds there. However much that purchase was, he gets 5% of it. So 5% of what? $65 transaction? Brand new game, $69.99, right? No, it's $59.99. So it'd be like I don't know, 5% of $60, before tax. Not really sure what that would be. That's not a lot. That's not a ton of money for one thing. And I mean, frankly, who really buys brand new games? Who really buys like brand new games? So, yeah, go ahead and link that, man. I'll take a look at that really quick since we're talking about this shit. Let's I want to focus on the partner thing there. So if you're a partner and you sell these games, you make some money. It's about $3. Thank you. Okay, there you go. $3 on a brand new game. Who's really gonna buy $60 brand new game? Games don't come out that often, and I really don't think people generally jump onto most brand new games generally. Maybe they do. I don't know. Whatever. But that's not the point. Here's my point, all right? Here's the preface of my point. I'm having a hard time kind of getting my thoughts together here. Up until this thing that they're doing, up until this moment, this game selling and the streamer can benefit moment, there has been not really a direct tie to a streamer and the video games when it comes to making money. And it's kind of an open comment there. And before you start jumping down my throat, because I know a lot of people would be like, well, wait a minute, that's not true. You're right, it's not entirely true. But the main point of what I'm trying to convey here, a game that sells well or a game that sells poorly, it doesn't matter to the streamer. The streamer does not become influenced directly financially from the sales of whatever he is playing. It's completely disconnected in terms of the streamer and the product that he is streaming. Directly. In a direct sense, it is completely severed. There's no connection there. Why is that important to me? It's important to me because I really like streams that are people just playing video games. Because I like video games, and I like sharing in games, and even though I don't have a lot of time to do it myself, I like to watch some people play games. And I'll try and find people that play whatever, and just watch them play for a while and see what goes down. It's interesting to me. I like to hear their thoughts, their opinions, especially if it's a new game. I love hearing what people have to say about new games. Most of the time it's shit, but whatever. I mean, I still like hearing about it. When I do that type of stuff, when I stream, there's no monetary value involved here other than Infected giving me donations for some random reason that I've never fully understood, and Game Boy giving me donations in the form of trying to get Tekken 7. I mean, that's it. But that is not video game tie. That's somebody supporting the channel. Monica, that Dark Souls master guy, they really wanted to support me. They didn't want to support the game I was playing. They didn't really give that much of a shit, I don't think, about the games that I actually play. I'm pretty sure no one cares. I don't care. But this new mechanic, this new feature of Twitch, it's going to turn that type of thing upside down. I'm thinking pretty heavily. I'm thinking it's going to be pretty heavy. Because as things are right now, generally when you watch a person play a game, they're not going to benefit from the game doing well or doing poorly. So there's a level of unbiasedness that you can generally have when somebody is talking about a game that they are playing. This is a great example. I don't know anything about Horizon. So far, I'm not having a lot of fun with it. And I can freely say that and not ever have to worry about anything other than this just being my opinion. I don't care if whoever made this game hears me say that I'm finding this game really boring right now. I don't care. Obviously, we're only an hour in, so I still got a lot to play. But right now, it's boring. And if that ends up being my opinion throughout the whole thing, well, tough shit to whoever pushed this game out. Whoever made this game, whoever developed it, whoever published it, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm trying to play a game, and if I don't like it, I'm going to let people know. I love that. And most people on Twitch, I like to think, are kind of a similar vein. Only because it seems like the natural course of things. Nobody is directly getting money from these games. From the people who make these games, from the people who publish them. At any time, the game industry is not directly tied to people on Twitch. Most of the time. There are people who are, though. But they're like the exception, right? I mean, they make it very clear that they hail from that side of the deal, that they are from the industry, and that they are here to kind of push a product. They make it pretty clear. So when you find a random dude on Twitch, he's not really coloring his opinion with anything other than his own experiences. You know what I mean? There's a real good purity in that. And I really, really appreciate that. And I've always appreciated that from Twitch. Much, much more so that I learned to appreciate it than when game journalism started taking a horrible nosedive sometime around when Microsoft really started to take over the game industry, when they really made their presence known with like the Xbox stuff, right? They did a really good job with a lot of their titles when that shit came out. Call of Duty like was taking off like crazy. It was like a whole new revolution to video games at that time. And video game journalism really took a nosedive in terms of like generally being unbiased. Generally. I mean, there was still quite a bit of biasness in magazines, but it was not really... There was no direct connection between like publishers paying journalists or bribing them with free stuff, or even like you could shit talk a game back in the day as a game journalist, and the publishers and shit had no choice but to go back to you for their next game. They didn't really have a choice. If you were popular, that was it. It really wasn't until later that like Microsoft started coming into the game and started doing really well for themselves that I noticed a lot of these game journalist sites, they switched the course of power around, and now it's much more like you have to buy your way into reviewing games and previewing games. And you gotta suck their dick if you want games early. I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it, obviously, because it's a whole topic on its own. But the general gist here is that video game journalism has, a long time ago, fallen off the face of the earth in terms of actual, unbiased, fully functional opinion on whether or not you should even buy a game or even try a game. Like, it hasn't been reliable for that shit. In steps in Twitch, where guys who love playing video games, like me, just play games. We're not tied to the industry. And frankly, a lot of us don't make money off this shit. And I would even argue a lot of people who do make money off Twitch, they're probably not making enough to make a living. I don't think there's a lot of streamers out there that have like a livable wage off of their subs and donations. I don't think so. I think it's still a kind of an elite-ish group. Even if you're partnered, it's hard to be partnered, right? But even if you're partnered, I think maybe only a chunk, I couldn't even say how much, but I think only like a chunk of people who are partnered are really able to make streaming their daily life, right? And even then, these people who throw down so much dosh, who make so much dosh from just playing video games on Twitch, they're not making their money from the sales of whatever the fuck they're playing. They're not making money for it. Or they're not going to make money whether or not a game successfully sells or not. So these dudes can play whatever they want, and it doesn't matter. And because they're not making money from the success of the game that they are playing, they can be reasonably unbiased when they talked about games. Maximilian dude, perfect example. The guy just plays games, and a lot of fighting games. He's got like 4,000 or 5,000 viewers at any given time. And he's perfectly happy expressing his opinion on anything and everything he plays, and I don't feel that he has ever like been called out for being like, being paid under the table or something like that. He likes games that are shitty, and he likes games that are not shitty. His opinion is just as varied as anybody else's. So I feel like this is kind of the crux of what I have to worry about, right? Even if you are like a very top end guy, it doesn't necessarily mean that whatever you're playing, you've got to push. Some people do play games for money. They have to note that, though. True, especially when we're talking about competitive games. Remember, I just mean this in a general sense. I don't mean this like a blank. This is a blanket statement that's going to have some holes in it. But that's only because 90% of the cases on Twitch, this will apply for. There are exceptions, quite a few exceptions, I'm sure, especially ones that I don't even know about. But it's very much a generalization when I say most people largely don't make money based on the game based on the success or failure of the games that they are playing. Most people. That's a pretty reasonable statement that isn't perfect, but I think is mostly reasonable to believe in, right? I mean, at least to me, in the years that I've been watching this stuff and trying to follow Twitch, which has been really not easy to do, it seems like a lot of people are still very honest because they're not tied to the games they play. If they get sponsored to play, they have to explicitly... Exactly. And they do have to note that. And they have big displays that says, on the stream usually, like somewhere down in here or some shit, it will say, sponsored by Mad Cats or some shit. It's a long... I know I'm long-winded on this, but it's because this is something that it really matters to me a lot. Twitch has always been like the safe haven from all the horrible shit that you have to deal with when you are trying to figure out what a game is like before it's out and even after it's out. You can't trust YouTube anymore because Microsoft has already come out and admitted to paying YouTubers under the table to talk up like the Xbox consoles or certain games. They literally paid people to say nice things about their console. That's not an isolated issue. There's so many people on YouTube that get paid to push certain games. And they make money based on how well or poorly a title is received. You can't really trust anybody on YouTube anymore. I mean, list anybody. I'm telling you, they are going to be tied in some significant way to the industry, and the well-being of a game that they are pushing is going to directly influence their opinion because it directly influences their pocket. How much money they got. Twitch has always stood away from that. It's always been able to be a bastion for people like me who don't really want to constantly dissect who's being real and who's getting paid to say nice things. I don't like having to do that homework. It is very, very, very hard to not have to do that homework these days. It's getting much harder. Now, Twitch is making it even harder. Because there are going to be streamers out there who will try and play games and push them. They will be partnered, and they will try and push these games in hopes of making some money by selling a title specifically. I mean, how easy would it be for a top-end... Let's take one of those really high top-end money makers for Twitch. Who would that be? You think Lyric would make that top? Would Lyric be up there? Soda Poppin'. I think those guys are really up there, right? They're pretty top-end when it comes to making money. Why would they not take advantage of this situation? Why would they not? Every new game that comes down the pipe, why would they not play that shit? Why would they not do their goddamned hardest to push that shit into your face and encourage you to buy this game through their channel so that they make $3 from you buying a game that they're telling you is fucking great? What stops them from just saying that for every game? For every game. I don't think much stops them at all because they are so popular. It's not one of those things where people will just be like, oh, he's a sellout. People don't really respond to sellouts anymore. I mean, I think a lot of people are celebrated for selling out. Which, I mean, whatever. That's not such a big point to me, but the big point is that if you sell out and that compromises your ability to talk about video games, that is the issue. You can sell out and still have your own opinion about shit. I've seen that plenty of times. But a lot of times, when you sell out, it kind of means you're signing a contract with somebody that you can't talk shit about. And you got to promote it. That's some trouble. And now we're talking a situation where these guys can push really, really hard for a game so that people will buy it and then they could make a few bucks. It's that money shit. It's money now. Now we're not talking about makes money off of a game just for making money off of a game through some side thing. We're not talking about makes money because he wins tournaments. We're talking makes money because he whores himself out like a video game journalist would do and hypes up and overhypes whatever new game is out there or whatever game he thinks he can sell to people and sells it like a used car salesman. My throat's starting to dry out. Christ. I'm getting a little riled up. Fucking, I got this cold, and I really shouldn't be. I shouldn't be getting this worked up. I'm just trying to say. There's right now there is no incentive for people to really hype up a game that they are currently playing, money wise. And we got to be honest here, right? It's all about fucking money. This shit is always about money. I don't like it, but that's just part of the territory. This shit wouldn't exist without the money. So people are always looking to make some bank. Now, Twitch has always been free of a direct cash for your opinion about a video game. That largely doesn't happen. And even when it does, like Infected points out, you tend to be able to know because they have to say, oh, I work for this company or I'm sponsored by these guys. They tend to, I mean, as far as I'm aware, they kind of have to point out that they are on the payroll of whatever game they're trying to push. That's different. That guy is being paid, and you know he's being paid, so you have to take his opinion, you have to take that into account. But a random dude like me, you know I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid by anybody. I'm just a dude playing some video games. So fucking, my opinion is going to be only biased on my experiences, and you can easily tell what my experience is by either watching the channel or just fucking asking me, how long have you been playing games? I've been playing games since fucking Atari 2600. So, you know, my extensive use of video games is long. So I have a lot of I could criticize a lot of shit because I've been playing a lot of shit in my whole life. But then that all changes. The day that I get a partnership and you see a link at the bottom of my channel for the game that I am playing, you're going to see that shit. And you're going to think to yourself, hang on a second now. This man who before he was partnered, he was not making money off the quality of a game. He is now possibly able to make money off the quality of this game. If he says this game he is playing is good, how do I know he is being legitimate in his opinion? Because he can make $3 off me by having me buy the game through his channel. All of a sudden, all the trust is out the window. This is my problem. This is my beef that I have with this new mechanic, this new change to Twitch. You can't trust me anymore. If I ever turn partner, I don't know how you can trust me. Because I'll have a link at the bottom of my channel, assuming I opt in, which I'm thinking I won't if I ever do be partnered, that I'll make $3 off it if you buy the game through my channel. Like, I don't like it. I really, really don't like it. And I don't like the idea that a lot of streamers are going to opt in. Why wouldn't you? I mean, why wouldn't you opt in? Maybe someday someone will buy a thing. You never know. It could be $3 out of nowhere for you. It could be a thing where somebody wouldn't even bother normally buying a game unless you're streaming it. Maybe they're such a fan of you, they wouldn't bother playing or buying a game that you're now playing unless you were the fucker playing it. Now he's like, I normally wouldn't buy this game, but because you're playing it and you seem to be having fun, I'll buy the game. That is so opposite direction of what I'm trying, what I really appreciate, and what I am trying to do with my channel. I've had a lot of people come in here and say, hey man, thank you for playing a game and talking about it, and thank you for not getting paid for whatever your opinion is. Like, people really appreciate that shit because I really appreciate that shit. I think it's the greatest thing about Twitch. Now we have room for doubt. This thing is going to come in. Everybody's going to opt into it because why the fuck wouldn't you? I'm going to have so much doubt now. And admittedly, it's only with partnered people, but let's face it, partnered people are the guys that get promoted on Twitch. They're the ones that really show up. They're the ones that people tend to find because they're partnered. People like me that are low tier viewers. We're not being featured. We're not being sponsored. Like, you're not gonna find dudes like me. It's gonna be even harder. It's gonna be even harder to find the people that are not directly connected, to any kind of money. This is a long ass rant. But I'm being 100% real with you. Is that this is very serious to me. It's an affront to one of the things that I really hold dear about what we do on this channel, and that is being honest and just talking about games. I'm not talking about being like unbiased in terms of your opinion. I'm talking about being unbiased in terms of being paid by the people of the game that you are reviewing or playing, whatever you want to call it. Because I'm biased to my experiences in the past. But isn't that way better than being biased because of the money I could make off of you? That's a better alternative, right? Wouldn't you rather hear my opinions because I fucking played, I don't know, Xenogears back in the day? And I could bring up all the things that I did in that game and compare it to whatever game I'm currently playing? Like, this fucking Horizon, right? What am I comparing this shit to? I'm comparing it to every other game that's kind of open world, third-person camera, has any kind of similar mechanics, which so far it's feeling like, I don't know, Assassin's Creed. I'm getting some Assassin's Creed vibes so far. Granted, we only played for an hour. I mean, anything that had any relevancy to at least those three things, plus probably more. I'm getting a little Lara Croft vibe. I'm getting an Uncharted 4 vibe. I'm comparing all my experiences to this shit. I'm comparing this shit to back when I played fucking Legacy of Kain Blood Omen 2. Did you guys ever play that game? That shit was like this. It was a fucking stage. It wasn't open world, but it was a third-person run-around, kill-people thing. That's what this is, third-person run-around, kill-people thing. It's a later game, but I do compare it to that old-ass game that was shitty, because I like to see where things are, and like, maybe this doesn't do things very well, and then I could look back and go, a game released 10 years ago had similar themes, had similar concepts, and executed it better. That is so much better of a biased opinion than being influenced by money. In my opinion, that's just what I think. That's just what I think. But I mean, there's got to be a lot of people that think that way. I think a lot of people appreciate the level-headedness. I don't like saying unbiased, because there are people who have agendas and shit. But there's a level of honesty. There's a level of honesty that most people have when they stream on Twitch. Now that's going to be thrown into question. And at the very least, it's only going to affect partnered people. And there's not a ton of partnered people out there. So it's still kind of a smaller sect. But the thing is it's a partnered people, which means it's the people that we tend to see. Because Twitch pushes partnered streams all day, and they don't do shit for the little people. They don't give a fuck. If you don't have partnership, they aren't going to do anything for you. So, it is a long-ass rant. It's a long-ass rant. But, I mean, it means a lot to me. This type of shit bothers me. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like being treated like I'm some sort of mindless consumer. I like to know about games. I don't come to Twitch to join like a community. I don't come here and I don't stream to join a community. I don't want to be a part of some massive ass nerdy game culture or movement. I don't care about that. I'm just here to play some fucking video games. And right now, I can do that. And right now, I can find a lot of people like that on Twitch. But once this change goes into effect, I'm not going to have an easy time finding people like that, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be able to make a couple bucks off of games that they're just going to outright lie and be like, oh yeah, this game's great, I'm having a blast, go buy it through my channel, give me some money. It's upsetting. It's upsetting. Maybe it's not as big as a deal as I'm making it out to be, but boy, do I feel that way. Try and find partnered people who say anything negative about this new thing. Everything I've heard so far from that direction was overly positive. And so look, man, like already I feel like this game has been done before. I feel like I've played this game before. It looks different. It feels much the same though. It looks different, looks beautiful, but it feels much the same. And I don't really see how this game is going to change very much. But yeah, I mean, already, and these guys don't make money. These guys don't make direct cash for saying that this game, this specific game here, Horizon, they don't make direct money for this, for selling copies of this game. So even I mean, at least right now, unless for some reason these partnered guys like have a very clear agenda present, I think you could go to their stream and watch them play this game, and they could say, oh, I'm having a blast, this game is great. And then that's it. But in the future, in the not too distant future here, they're going to say, this game is great, I'm having a blast, you should buy it. They're going to add that tack. They're going to tack that on there like a used car salesman. They're going to be like, you should buy it. Maybe they won't mention through my stream, or maybe they will. They might do that. They might think they have the unmitigated goal to just flat out say, this game is great, you should buy it, and do it through my stream. Dark days. I feel like it will be dark days. In fact, what do you think? Am I overreacting? Is it not as bad as I think it might be? I feel like it's going to be horrible. I feel like all these partnered dudes, I feel like being partnered is going to change from being a dude who gets paid to play video games to being a dude who pushes video games on other people. That's what I feel like it's going to happen. And I don't follow game journalists because that's exactly what they do. They get paid to push the product regardless of how good or bad it is. Oh, man. Excuse me, this cold and this topic just popped my fucking ass off.